sweatpants at Stella's in the morning, in line for a table, but the locals are swarming. Gotta get my coffee or soon I'll be snoring. Lazy Sundays never get boring, telling Syracuse stories.
Welcome back to Syracuse Stories. I'm Alexandra Jennerjohn. Today's episode highlights a special project developed by students of our own. We got to sit down with Brian Cam and Ryan Brinkerhoff, who founded Thrive, an organization providing energy, education, and vocational training to communities in need. Take a look.
Thrive is an organization that aims to bring renewable energy education and also vocational-based training to underserved communities around the globe, beginning in Nepal. I think it all began after my disaster relief tour in Nepal last year, and I saw some things that really impacted my perception. As you all know, we are sitting in this room right now. We have lights, we have everything that we need, camera equipment, and if we need something, we can get it, right? But in a developing country like Nepal, especially after a disaster had struck it, it makes it almost impossible to imagine the type of situation they're in. The lack of access to electricity and just how important that aspect alone is to, your daily life and the struggles that comes with being in an earthquake zone. I grew up in Hong Kong, and where I grew up, there's, quite a few homeless people here and there. And whenever I walk by them, I would always tell my mom to give me extra money, and she would always be like, no. I'm like, that's so sad. Like, don't you want to help them? And then I just always badgering her for money to give to other people. And I think that's kind of like maybe a critical component in developing my understanding and also my compassion for other people as well.
Absolutely. I think it's not that I grew up in Hong Kong. But it's similar for me. I saw my parents working very hard. I saw my mom lose her job when I was like 12, 13. I started working when I was 12, 13, had 3 jobs by the time I was 16. And so you recognize I always say it's very hard to differentiate. You can have sympathy for a person, but it's different to have empathy and to understand the exact circumstances that they're going through. And when you do see it and you can really feel and relate, there are no lengths that you won't go to help them, because you don't want someone to feel what you felt. Going in kind of, you go in and you're not really sure what to expect. You're going into a foreign country, you don't necessarily speak the language, you don't know how many connections you have or exactly what you're going to do. All you know is you have these parts and a good idea, and you don't know what's going to come of that. And so going out there and then actually seeing it be implemented, I think the biggest thing for us, again, was how do we make it sustainable? And this was our challenge. You really have to get down to the community level, and you have to engage them. You have to make it theirs. You have to let them invest in it rather than just kind of giving them something and thinking that you can provide all the solutions. And kind of getting over almost that ego, I think, that we might have in America to kind of think, and the West in general, to think that, you have all the answers. That was a big challenge for us, and I think we took it head on and we tackled it, and it set us up on a path that really has a much greater trajectory.
Coming up next, we get to know another special connection Brian and Ryan made, Thrive Project's mentor.
As soon as I came back to campus after my 3-month tour last year in 2015, I immediately just went to seek out sources.
And then the Blackstone Launchpad in Bird Library. Could not say enough good things about them. The executive director, Linda Hartsock, and everything that she's done to connect us with people around the upstate community. It's a great resource for students. It's been a fantastic resource for us.
By the way, Linda, she's like our mom.
Yeah, I actually call her Mama H, so shout out to Mama H.
So we opened the Launchpad in spring of this year. The Launchpad program here at Syracuse University is to coach and mentor students and help them understand how they can take their idea and realize it through the various steps that are required to get to implementation. And at some point, they came in, and I was immediately taken with them. I was taken with their intellect, their passion, their energy, their commitment, as well as the way they built this team that was so coherent, and most of all, their mission and their service. They're one of the most impressive sets of student entrepreneurs I think I've ever had the pleasure of working with. So I think if they were to ask you what my role was, it would be equal parts mentor and mother, and they may have said that because I work with them the way a professional mentor would work. So everything from governance and bylaws to legal incorporation to building a business model, but also you can't help but want to see them succeed in a way that is sort of nurturing, because what they're doing so profoundly, again, impacts people's lives that you're drawn into their mission. You want to be part of it. You feel that same sense of service. And thinking about it, again, at their age, in terms of not just the impact they've made on the lives of real people in the community, but thinking about what it took to open those doors, go into a strange and foreign place like Nepal, figure out how to navigate culture, how to navigate language, how to connect with people in remote rural communities under the worst of circumstances, an earthquake, a humanitarian crisis, and to think about what they were able to do so quickly this summer in terms of not just teaching local villagers how to build renewable, rechargeable energy units, but teaching them principles of empowerment, self-sufficiency, and then really creating a generation of entrepreneurs in these places, in both distressed urban environments and rural communities in a developing country that was so profoundly affected by a natural disaster. It's truly one of the most amazing stories I think I've encountered in 30 years of working with entrepreneurs.
For allowing us to come here to hopefully transfer this knowledge to you guys, to empower you guys as much as possible. And also I'd like to thank Santoshi Rana and also the great ladies from King's College to really kind of introduce us to the village and also get opportunities to make the situation a lot better for the future. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Each of them in one word. Ryan, commander.
Brian Cam is a fighter.
Ryan, organizational man.
Ryan Brinkerhoff is a strategist. He balances me out. Like if I thought one way about a situation, I would get a more balanced approach from Ryan, and then it would turn out to be a good decision. So I'm really thankful that I got him on my squad. This is my balance right here.
Thanks, man. He can drive me a little crazy, but I definitely came to understand why, because it was hard to deal with when we were just starting the organization. Like, so much passion and so much fire coming from Brian, and everyone sees this. Like any community we went to, anytime we did an information session, it's what you feel, it's what you see. But when you're dealing with it in close quarters, sometimes that's hard. But when you're actually going out, it's you get to really understand why, because you see the people struggling, you get to work with the community, and the more you feel that, you're like, wow, like, why are we not doing more? And you're like, you want to be like him in a lot of ways.
They're extraordinary human beings, and what they're doing is so important, and they're so committed and devoted to it that you feel like you're part of something larger. It is incredibly rewarding to work with them. It gives us professional and personal joy to be able to be engaged with what they're doing.
Coming up next, we get to see what's in store for Thrive.
I think the most rewarding moment for me personally is being able to see the confidence that the kids have displayed after we show them that things are possible, that they can do something about the environment that they're in.
I think one of the really most rewarding things is to see how it's continued after we left. And so this is part of one of our big questions was what's going to happen. We spent our entire summer there, but what's going to happen after we go? And so to see it continue, we've doubled the amount of students that have been trained through our program, doubled the amount of power that we've brought to Nepal. And we've seen these kids continue on. We've seen our students become teachers. And to see that, to know that we've, in that way at least, left a legacy behind, it's certainly been the most rewarding part.
I have crazy things going on in my head about what Thrive could become, but the more realistic version is that I really want to see Thrive being able to, as our name suggests, thrive in Nepal, being able to build that network and really do what we're good at right now, and also build on the connections that we already have, and to solidify those connections, and then hopefully to build something sustainable that the Nepali people can enjoy, and also we can see as making a good impact for the people there.
One of our advisors actually asked us, like, what is your end goal, right? Because if you're a not-for-profit and your goal is to help people, then you should have something, you should be leaving things better off than you found it. But then inevitably, it's counterintuitive for a business, because that means that eventually you're not going to have a service to provide. You're trying to solve a problem. And so what I told him is that there are currently 1.8 billion people on this planet who go every day without power. If I could put a light on in every single one of their homes, then that's the end game. That's what we're going for. And that might be a long shot, but that you have to stretch for it. And if we somehow achieve that, or anything close to that, 1 million homes, 100,000 people, then that's what we're going to do.
A lot of what we've learned and philosophies can be found in Thrive Project's mission, and the slogan goes, live, learn,
thrive.
If you'd like to learn more about Thrive, visit thriveproject.org. If you have a story you'd like to share with us, please email SyracuseStoriesTV@gmail.com. I'm Alexandra Jennerjohn. Thanks for watching.